Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to our interview with the new Fighters Rep East Coast Middleweight Champion, none other than Fernando, the Golden Boy Valdez. Fernando, how are you doing, champ?
I'm doing great, George. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm so excited to talk to you. There's so much to unpack from Saturday night. What an amazing night, man. But let me go ahead and first and foremost thank you for joining me and doing this. And second, I wanna pick your brain. Just in general, how are you feeling after Saturday night, earning yet another belt on your wall of belts over there?
Uh, Thank you, George. I'm just glad I could fulfill the promises I was making to make it a spectacular show and have some fun out there, and honestly not get hurt. I think he hit me with like two things or three things throughout, maybe four things throughout the whole fight. I tried to do good defense, like I said. He hit me with a head kick early on, which is not good defense, but I don't have any cuts, any scratches. I know it may have looked like I had blood on me, but that was from hitting the very tall guy. He was when he
Yeah,
was he did keep clinching and he did keep acquiring his hands around my work on not touch more, but he got his blood a little bit on my head and it may have looked like it was coming from my eyebrow, but I can reassure you guys there is not a single cut or scratch on my face, bruise on my body.
wow, man, wow. No, you're looking great. I mean, I will say, he was a very tough guy. He did seem like a tough guy. He did seem to be throwing with extremely bad intent when he was throwing. But yeah, you just seemed to be a gear ahead all night long. If you ask me, is that kind of how you felt? You were just kind of a step ahead of him throughout the fight.
Um, yes, early on, you never know. You never want to take anybody lightly, especially in a game. It's not one mistake, and then you wake up asking where you are, what happened, right? It can happen to anybody at any moment, at any time. So I always try to be aware of that and keep that in mind. And that being said, I just wanted to gauge him at first. I know my corner and even myself are like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you letting him do this? But it was more to read, just to be like, all right, what's going on? This guy's record could be, just like a possum sort of say. So I didn't want to fall into any traps. I wanted to just make my reads and reassure myself of where I was and just be the better one. And then from then on, once I felt his best shot, once he hit me, I was like, okay, cool, let's go. Hit me again if you
Yeah.
can. And then I just did my best.
What was interesting to me is we did a pre-fight breakdown with Tavia Tenpal, and obviously she knows you very well. She is the better half of your coach and the owner of FKA out there, Asa Tenpal. And she was saying that she felt like it would be great for you to continue to work on your boxing a little bit as you develop and become a more seasoned amateur and as you head into the pros here soon. And I just felt like, with his height and the way he fought, it was an ideal kind of circumstance for you to really work on that boxing. And I noticed that you used a lot of boxing in the fight. It was beautiful. You went to the body a lot. You threw a lot of combinations. You changed levels. You went to the head. Kind of tell me about, how you felt about that. Did you feel like you got to utilize more boxing maybe than you usually do?
Yes, I feel like in this fight, maybe more than almost any other fight I used, threw definitely more volume and punches than ever before. Even my other 5 round fight, or I have a couple of them, and I haven't thrown ever as much volume as this. Definitely
Yeah.
more boxing than anything. Definitely focused on during camp because I had my eyes on a couple of opponents that you guys, bring up yes and no. Some guys just fought. Some guys didn't want to do it. Some guys weren't ready, whatever the case may have been. So I was just like, okay, cool. Well, let me just focus on me. And I figured like that was my, let's say, weakest point, even though I feel like I don't have any weak points.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, I will say you threw some vicious body shots, man. And, and like the highlight we posted today, I noticed you changed levels a lot. You were really stabbing hard to the body. I mean, really taking advantage of his height and, that long torso and trying to go after the liver. Was that kind of part of your strategy going into the fight?
Yes, it being an open stance fight and then him being southpaw. I know southpaws usually like to be the ones to target the liver with their left hand and their left kick, but people forget like the liver's on the right side and their right side is in front. So as long as I throw straight,
Yeah.
I'll find it. And something I feel like I could have done a lot better is like to sit on my punches. It's what my corner was telling me. I was listening to most of the stuff they were saying, but if I would have listened a little bit better, maybe we would have gone home a little bit sooner.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the heat of battle, you can't do everything you want to do, so that's totally understandable. I also, one thing that really stuck out for me, I mean, you had that beautiful combo, that we actually uploaded to the Instagram for today's interview, where you threw the body shot, then you attacked with a couple flying knees, then you
Oh yeah,
threw a kick, and then a spinning, heel kick. I mean, my goodness, you were very dynamic in there.
yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I remember. I think it was I was pulling back in. I threw across to the body, across to the head, and then my corner yelled jump knee, so I jumped kneed, and then I changed stances and I did it again from the other side. Or I think it
Yeah.
was a left kick, and then I did the jump knees. Yes, and then
I mean, it was super. It was super. It was super entertaining. You mentioned that in the build-up. You like to throw those special moves and a lot of spinning stuff, and a lot of people do it just to kind of show off, but yours is actually very practical and effective. Is that kind of the style you've always kind of gone for, to be flashy and effective and use these beautiful techniques?
absolutely. So you think about it. We got to sell tickets, right? Some people like to have a flat personality. Some people like to compensate, let's say, for skill or time spent on the mat with skill on the mic or some other skills. And it's
Yeah,
not. I don't say I'm not a well person. I try to be very well spoken and smart with my words, but more so, I try to also be well spoken, eloquent, and decent with my fighting skills as well. I don't want to just be another guy that fights just wild and whatever the case may be and just kind of throw and look like any other old striker, any other kickboxer or taekwondo fighter. I want to set myself apart with my technique, my ability, of course, not just the stuff I throw, but how I throw it, when I throw it, who I throw it against as well.
yeah, yeah. Let me ask you, Fernando, did anything trouble you or surprise you in the fight? I mean, you seem to be in pretty much control and kind of walking away with the fight as the fight progressed. But did anything surprise you or trouble you about Reggie at all in that fight?
His demeanor definitely. He may have heard what I was saying before. I was very friendly, timid, shy, and then he came out and he was not so. He was blasting those kicks as hard as he could. Then he started changing the speed on those, which I will say he started almost. I wouldn't say surprising me because I've seen things like this before, and this was something our coach was having us work on in the build-up to
Yeah,
changing the speed of your attacks, not throwing everything the same speed all the time.
yeah, yeah.
And that being said, he started to change the speed on the left kick, and I was like, oh, okay. As long as I keep my hand and don't worry about evading or countering at the same time, I'll stay a step ahead of him and just work off the rhythm and double up.
Yeah, yeah. And between his height, his stance, and him being from Las Vegas, right? I mean, we flew this guy out here just to fight somebody. Did you feel like, it was a lot of pressure, or did you feel like it's just going to benefit you because you got such a different look? I mean, he's so tall. It's just like such a unique guy.
Um, I would say for most, sorry, let me move my hand. I would say for most, yes, but I've actually fought a couple southpaws. I would say he is 3 out of my last 4 or 3 out of my last 5 opponents are southpaws, and I've fought maybe
Wow.
total. And everybody I fight is taller than me. When I move up and down in weight classes, I know that's what's gonna happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the faster guy. Sometimes I'm gonna be the stronger guy. For some reason, I'm always the shorter guy. So I guess you could say that's one of my specialties is to fight taller guys, which is
Yeah.
one.
Well, I hear you. Well, Fernando, the crowd, I will say the crowd was very hyped. Something I was extremely happy about because, this being our first ever Fighters Rep show in South Florida, I kind of wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, but my goodness, was the crowd out there to watch you and your teammates go to war on Saturday night? I mean, how'd you feel about, the crowd and the energy in the building?
Oh, I'm very proud of the crowd. I thought the energy was amazing. I almost couldn't stay in the back. Normally, if anybody goes to my fights, I don't really like to talk to people. I'm not very like I'm a very social person, but when I'm fighting, I'm not. I like to flip a switch. I like to turn my emotions off and almost become robotic or like a reptile and really stay focused on business. I like to nap. The guys saw at first I was trying to nap and stay calm and relax, and I like to save every single ounce of energy I have for combat. But I was just so riled up, and I really wanted to see my boys in action and Lexi and everybody fight. So everybody did great. Everybody showed grit, toughness, hard work. They showed everything we put into the gym, and they displayed it out there with a beautiful demonstration.
My goodness, did they ever, and FKA goes 6-1-1 on the night. I mean, kind of tell me how it felt to go to war with, 7 other teammates on the same fight card. I mean, that had to be pretty exciting.
Well, it felt exactly like what you just said. It felt like we were going to war. It felt like, everybody, either we go out on our shield or we're going to take them out, and we were ready to take them out. That's definitely what we were prepared for. All our weapons were sharpened. We had the best materials. We made sure we were ready. Everybody made sure they put the work in on their own, and we all put in a lot of work in together as well.
One thing, Fernando, that I want to say is, having promoted so many years now in California, excuse me, and, this being my first South Florida show, I mean, besides the crowd, I didn't know what to expect from the quality of the fighters. I didn't know what to expect from the fighters, period. You know what I mean? And I just felt, like the quality of the fighters was pretty high. The technique was pretty great. But one thing that really, really stood out to me, and you mentioned this on social media today, was the heart on display. I mean, my goodness, I'm used to this sort of heart. Obviously, in SoCal, we've got a lot of great fighters down there with a lot of warrior spirit. But I wasn't ready, man, for what I saw on Saturday night, between, especially, with what happened with Abello, and even in Nick's fight against his opponent, Adric, kind of tell me a little bit about, the scene down here and how you kind of felt about your team's performance.
I'm very proud of everybody's performance. Every single person on the team did great. Proud of the people in the corner. Everybody, as a team, we did amazing. We were efficient. We were excellent. We were exactly what a team should be. In terms of the grit and the toughness, again, like that's just what people saw. Like they didn't see him break his toe. I didn't see him break his toe. I knew something was off, especially in the first 30 seconds. But, there's a lot of things that you don't see. That being said, there's a lot of things that happen beforehand, before the fight. We get hurt, and, we all still kind of bite down and just pull through and make it to the fight and still make it happen.
Yeah.
I think that being said,
well, man, I was so impressed by the. Go ahead now.
He's one of the very toughest guys I know. I spoke to him
afterwards. Goodness, I mean,
let me say something. I spoke to him afterwards on the phone the next morning, and he told me he was in the hospital on his belly watching the fights as they were sewing his toe up.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I mean, let me tell you, when Haji made that, when he connected with that right hook, and Abello went down. I mean, Abello went down hard, man. He went down really, really hard.
Yeah, I was worried.
Yeah, and I said to myself, "Oh man, like I see Haji closing in. I mean, this fight is probably going to be over the next couple seconds." And he not only, composed himself, but actually started punching back before the round ended. And I said, "My goodness, how would it look if this kid came back?" And he actually went ahead and did that and was able to manage a draw. I mean, that was pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think if he would have had a little bit more time in the round, had it happened earlier, maybe he could have came back and even the round out as well. Like he showed amazing composure. I mean, that was crazy. I thought he was out, and then he like slowly stood up, and then I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh, the referee's not gonna let it go on. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, come on, Fernando, you can do this. And then he made it to the end of the round, and I was like, okay, here we go, we can do this.
Yeah. I mean, the quality of the guys you guys have out there. I gotta say, I was very impressed with all your performances. I was very impressed as well with Nick's performance, man. I thought Nick put on a hell of a show. What did you kind of think about Nick? Nick also, dropped his opponent hard. Credit to Adric. He came back and still made it a fight, but Nick was just a bit too much, I think, in that fight.
I think Nick showed a lot of evolution in that fight. He was able to pick shots, be light on his toes, move, not waste any unnecessary energy. He really made a lot of improvements outside of camp, and it really showed in the fight. I'm so
Yeah.
proud as a fighter. I had a little talk with him in the back, and I just told him, I was like, hey, go do your thing. Like, we're made for this. Don't put pressure on yourself. You don't have to force any one shot. And then he looked like he had so much fun out there, and I think that's what this is all about. We're so blessed to do this, and he really looked like he expressed himself to the fullest.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful performance. And, we mentioned Abello, man, that toughness, that pride. I also saw that. From young Hayden Murray, man, who went out there. There was a lot of heat between him and his opponent. These are two guys that, don't have much experience, but I mean, he showed such grit, such toughness, and got his guy out of there in the first round with a lot of pressure, on him, man.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. I remember being in the back, like starting to warm up, and I started to hear the crowd go crazy, and I was like, let me peek and see what's going on, because I'm one fight after this. Second I look out, I see the guy on the floor, and I was like, I don't even know what happened. Like, that was quick. That was amazing. You can't ask for a better debut than that.
Yeah, no, an incredible night for you guys. And, the cherry on top is you capturing and securing the title, first ever Fighters Rep East Coast Middleweight champion. Is there anything that I may have left out? I mean, your experience on the night, kind of take me through how your experience was and how you felt, fighting for us for the first time.
It was an amazing experience. It was really, truly one of a kind experience that I hope isn't one of a kind. I hope we do that again. That was amazing to fight with all my teammates on the card.
I love it, man. Yeah, we'll certainly be doing that again. We are looking to put on shows in South Florida every couple of months, the way we do in California, and maybe teams from over there and bringing some of you guys back, to fight each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It would be fun to do an East versus West. I would say, you guys, whatever you guys want to do, you guys want to come over here, I'll defend my our home shores again and show you guys how to do it the right way in East Side.
I love it, Fernando. I wanted to ask you too, Fernando. I mean, you're a very seasoned amateur now. Obviously, I mean, I guess you can always add more seasoning, right? Martial artists are always evolving. But what's kind of next for you? What are you looking to do next? Are you looking to defend for a little while longer? Are you looking to turn pro soon? I'm interested in what the Golden Boys got coming up.
Oh, you just said Golden Boy, right? So that being said, I want some either that being defend my title and get another one, or move down in weight and take another belt down in weight. Like, I like to see who's out there, who's the toughest guy with the best record. Like you said, I want more seasoning. Who's got the flavor? I'm trying to come for that flavor. I'm trying to see what I can do, how far I can grow. I want to be the best I can be. That being said, I want to see where the gold is at. Show me where the gold is, and I'll come get it.
I love it, man. I love it. And another thing I wanted to mention, being in SoCal, we've got a lot of Mexican and Mexican American fighters. Obviously they're very proud of their heritage. We've got a lot of Central American fighters coming up through the ranks as well. But you mentioned today on social media when we posted about Abello, the Cuban heart, man. That's something that I really, really took notice of on Saturday night. Being a Miami boy, you would have think I would have remembered that a bit better. But I've been gone almost 9 years, Fernando, so you got to forgive me. But my goodness, was that on full display? I mean, what did it mean to you being a Cuban American, fighting for a title, watching your Cuban American brother out there, do what he did? You know what I mean? Represent for the heritage. What did it mean to you?
This event meant so much to me. That's why I'm so grateful for you and for Fighters Rep. I really appreciate you guys. I have so much gratitude for you. I want to compete for you again. And the reason is because I grew up and I was raised in Pompano with my Cuban family that came from Cuba. Like my mom, my parents, my dad, my grandma. I was raised right on Sample Road, a couple minutes down the street from the venue. So this
Wow.
was extremely special for me. The martial arts school, the Taekwondo school I started at, was down on Sample Road in US1 over there in Pompano Beach. Like, I grew up there. That's where I started training. That's where my roots are. So for my whole team and myself to come out there to my hometown where I was raised and to compete and to show off how we did, it was amazing.
Man, that's incredible, Fernando. Obviously, I'm excited to get you back in the Lions Den, whether it's as an amateur or a pro. But I kind of wanted to ask you too. What's the trajectory for you, Fernando? Because I know in your Instagram handle it says MMA. I mean, but is that what you're looking to do? Are you looking to be a kickboxer? Are you looking for Muay Thai? I mean, if you could choose, if Fernando Valdez, the Golden Boy, could choose his future career in combat sports, which sport would you be competing in?
I would definitely like to develop my striking skills and to sharpen them to the fullest. And once I could establish myself as one of the better strikers in the world, if it was, I could choose the path and work my hardest in this. I've already been working so hard in my striking, but I've been training in MMA since I was young. I started training when I was around 7, 8 years old in Taekwondo. And shortly after, like a couple of years after, I got like 4 or 5 years after, got my black belt. Then I started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with other big gym, American Top Team, and all these other gyms. And I've been training and dabbling in martial arts for a long time. I definitely want to put on the small gloves, whether just for striking. Definitely martial arts before I go
Yeah,
pro. But that being said, if I would get to choose, get some more belts, get some offers to go pro, say no.
yeah,
They offer me more money, do some amateur MMA, maybe once or twice, go pro kickboxing, replicate what I did in my amateur career, which is establish myself and dominate the striking scene, get all the striking belts, all of them for every promotion, multiple weights, then move over into MMA and do the same thing. Get big checks, big venues, the biggest checks, break records, reach the furthest I can reach, see who I am and see what I'm made out of.
I love it, man. I love the ambition, man, and I'm excited to be a part of it. We're excited to be a part of it at Fighters Rep. And, I want to thank you again, Fernando, for stepping in the Lions Den, man, being the main event for our first ever South Florida show. I do think it was, if I do say so myself, a rousing success, man. Big crowd was there, to support you guys. It was deafening. It was very loud in there. I mean, it was crazy. People were going nuts watching you guys fight. And, I thought it was a fantastic evening. Before I let you go, Fernando, is there anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, or anything you want to say?
Definitely a long list of people, but I'll keep it real short, sweet, and simple. My mom is the most important thing, and I gave a good post-fight speech, but I think the one person I didn't highlight enough in it is my mother. I grew up in Pompano, and my father passed away when I was young, and she really stepped up and became a leader in my life and a big, just showed me like how to be a man, essentially, which sounds funny, right? A mom, but she did a fantastic job, as we can see. She raised me the right way. She showed me how to be a leader. She showed me how to be an example, how to be strong, and I can't ever shout her out enough. This is only possible because of her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Fernando, man, again, what an absolute pleasure it was to do this with you, man. I look forward to doing it again soon and watching you and your team and all the other fantastic teams down here in Florida, step into the Lions Den and see who's the man. You know what I mean? And hopefully defend that belt, brother.
Absolutely, man. Again, whether it's to defend my belt against another giant or another person out of a giant with a giant record, or to go down in a weight class and to take a new belt, to go pro, either one, just let me know. Give us the call and I'll be ready. I'm going to start getting ready now.
I love it. I love it. And let them know where they can follow you on social media, Fernando, and support you, brother.
You guys can follow me on social media at Fernando V MMA. That's really the only thing I use.
All good, brother. All good. Well, thank you again so much for your time, Fernando. Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, your middleweight Fighters Rep East Coast champ, the first one ever, Fernando the Golden Boy Valdez. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, George. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
All right, man. Have a great one, champ.
You too. Bye.